Good morning, dear students. In our previous sessions, we have seen that a boy called Rakesh, under the guidance of his grandfather, planted a cherry tree, and after a year, they found that it has come up. Both of them were too happy by the growth of the cherry tree. Now, the cherry tree is 2 years old, but it is almost as tall as Rakesh, who was 9. Let's see what happened next. One morning, when the sun came out, grandfather came into the garden. Let some warmth get into my bones, he said. Being a winter season, he wished to get some warmth, so he came into the garden. He stopped in front of the cherry tree, stared at it for a few moments, and then called out, Rakesh, come and look. Come quickly before it falls. He called out Rakesh to show something. Rakesh and grandfather gazed at the tree as though it had performed a miracle. There was a pale pink blossom at the end of a branch. There they found a pale pink blossom at the end of the branch. Both of them looked at the tree as though it had performed a miracle. The following year, there were more blossoms, and suddenly the tree was taller than Rakesh, even though it was less than half its age. And then it was taller than grandfather, who was older than some of the oak trees. The rate of the growth was too high. Now it was taller than Rakesh and even taller than grandfather. But Rakesh had grown too. He could run and jump and climb trees as well as most boys, and he read a lot of books, although he still liked listening to grandfather's tales. He started reading more books, but still he liked to listen to grandfather's tales as he used to do. In the cherry tree, bees came to feed on the nectar in the blossoms, and tiny birds pecked at the blossoms and broke them off. But the tree kept blossoming right through the spring, and there were always more blossoms than birds. Bees started coming to feed on the nectar in the blossom, and the birds started coming. What do you mean by the word nectar? It's a sugar-rich liquid produced by plants, and blossom means a flower or a mass of flowers. That summer, there were small cherries on the tree. Rakesh tasted one and spat it out. It's too sour, he said. Why did Rakesh spit it out? Because it was sour. What do you mean by sour? Yeah, it's having an acid taste like lemon or vinegar. Rakesh tasted and immediately spat it out. Then his grandfather said they will be better next year. But the birds liked them, especially the bigger birds such as bulbuls and scarlet minivets. Even though it was sour, the birds liked it. They flitted in and out of the foliage, feasting on the cherries. Flitted means moved lightly and quickly. Foliage, the leaves of a tree or plant. So they moved quickly on the tree branch and out of the foliage, feasting on the cherries. They started eating the cherries. On a warm sunny afternoon, when even the bees looked sleepy, Ragesh was looking for grandfather and couldn't find him in any of his favorite places around the house. Then he looked out of the bedroom window and saw grandfather was reclining on a cane chair under the cherry tree. He was searching for his grandfather and he couldn't find out anywhere. At last, he was there under the cherry tree. He was reclining. Reclining means lying back in a relaxed position with a back support. He was on a cane chair under the cherry tree. He was relaxing on a cane chair under the cherry tree. There is just the right amount of shade here, said grandfather, and I like looking at the leaves. They are pretty leaves, said Ragesh, and they are always ready to dance if there is a breeze. Both of them started admiring the tree by saying such comments. After grandfather had come indoors, Rakesh went into the garden and lay down on the grass beneath the tree. He gazed up through the leaves at the great blue sky and turning on his side, he could see the mountain striding away into the clouds. He was still lying beneath the tree when the evening shadows crept across the garden. Grandfather came back and sat down beside Ragesh and they waited in silence until it was dark. After some time, grandfather had gone indoors. Then Ragesh went into the garden and he lay down on the grass and he was looking and he was enjoying the great blue sky. He could see the mountain striding away. Striding means walking with long steps. It felt the mountain was walking. That means he was enjoying under the cherry tree. He was still lying beneath the tree and until evening he was there. Later grandfather came back and together they sat down under the tree until it was dark. There are so many trees in the forest, said Ragesh. What is so special about this tree? Why do we like so much? Ragesh asked a question to grandfather and he replied, we planted it ourselves, said grandfather. That's why it's special. That is true. If we plant something, that would be special for us. Just one small seed, said Ragesh. It was a small seed. Now it has become a big tree. And he touched the smooth bark of the tree that had grown. He ran his hand along the trunk of the tree and put his finger to the tip of a leaf. I wonder, he whispered, is this what it feels to be God? Being the creator of a single tree, Rajesh got a feeling of happiness. Now he thinks that what would be the feeling of God, because God is considered to be the creator of everything in the world. So now when he ran his hand along the trunk of the tree, he made a comment. I wonder, he whispered, is this what it feels to be God? So my dear children, you also try to make a miracle with a small seed. Try to plant more trees and keep the earth cool. I hope all of you enjoyed the story very well. Thank you.